the brutal reality of mountain warfare in Italy during World War II. They say that war has become a more distant affair. In some ways, that is true. Armies in the Second World War killed each other from bombers high in the sky, or with tanks and artillery firing across battlefields. But modern war still requires old-fashioned modes of killing. In the Italian mountains, infantry soldiers are close enough to see the whites of each other's eyes, and a knife can be just as effective as a rifle. For these men, fighting, killing, and dying remain up close and personal. I'm Indy Nidell. This is a World War II in real-time special on mountain warfare in Italy. Throughout my coverage of the war, you've seen the relentless struggle in Italy, especially the grinding combat along the Gustav Line, anchored by Monte Cassino and its ancient monastery. Back in January, the Allies made an unsuccessful attempt to breach this line, and they have now launched another assault this month with Operation Avenger. This seemed like a perfect time to take a closer look at the unique experience of fighting in the mountains. So far, the Italian campaign has been a war of position rather than movement. The Germans call it Stellungskrieg. Gains are measured in meters, with slow, grueling pushes through hills, mountains and valleys fortified with bunkers, blockhouses and machine gun nests. This is all happening under absolutely miserable conditions. The mud and rains of autumn, the fog and blizzards of winter. Both sides have few troops specifically trained for mountain warfare, forcing them to learn hard lessons as they go. The Germans have more of a mountain warfare heritage than the Allies. During the Great War, the Imperial German Army established the Alpen Corps, which drew heavily from mountainous Bavaria. They fought in the Dolomite Mountains in Italy, in Serbia and Romania, earning high praise. The Third Reich also draws on a long Austrian tradition of high-altitude warfare. The German 3rd Mountain Division, for example, was formed in 1938 from 2 Austrian army divisions. By February 1944, the German army has 8 active mountain divisions and 1 ski division. The Waffen-SS has 5 mountain divisions, but only one of these is on the Gustav Line. The others are scattered across Europe, from the Eastern Front to Finland and Norway, and on anti-partisan duty in Yugoslavia. The sole German mountain division manning the Gustav Line is the 5th Mountain Division, positioned to the left of Monte Cassino. The 5th Mountain Division was formed in 1940 and trained in the Alps, preparing them well for the conditions they now face. After months of rock climbing, route marching, mountain navigation and skiing, the men earn the right to wear the Edelweiss badge on their sleeves and caps. Their standard rifle is still the Kar-98K, but they also use the shorter-barreled Czech-designed carbine, the Gewehr 33-40, which is lighter and easier to carry in the mountains. These men are not only trained for this environment, but also battle-hardened, having seen action in Greece, on Crete and near Leningrad. Still, they are just one division. Most of the rest of the German infantry here are regular troops whose quality has significantly declined due to the war's demands. Many divisions are filled with fresh recruits and veterans from the Eastern Front, along with Volksdeutsche from Poland, who are often less motivated and reliable. In contrast, the Allies on the Gustav Line lack any designated mountain warfare divisions. That will change when the 4th Moroccan Mountain Division joins the French Expeditionary Corps at the end of February. But for now, regular infantry bear the brunt of the fighting. The British have the 52nd Lowland Infantry Division, trained for mountain conditions, but it is still in Scotland and won't be sent to Italy. Similarly, the Americans have the 10th Light Division, Alpine, which will become the 10th Mountain Division. But it is still training in the States, and won't reach the front lines until January 1945. Thus, the bulk of the fighting falls on units that must adapt to the challenging terrain. Some Allied units, like the 4th Indian Division, have proven adept at mountain fighting, having earned a reputation in Tunisia. The French 2nd Moroccan and 3rd Algerian Infantry Divisions, though not mountain divisions, have significant experience fighting in North Africa's mountains. The Moroccans in particular are fierce knife fighters, as demonstrated in their assault on Cassino. However, the Allied planners have seriously misjudged the Italian climate. The autumn rains and mud resemble the Rasputitsa on the Eastern Front, followed by snow and blizzards that cut visibility and freeze men to their bones. Ron Goldstein, a driver in the Royal Artillery, described the harsh conditions. The first winter of 1943 found us totally unprepared for the conditions in which we had to serve. It was nothing to have wet clothes on for 3 days at a time. We all had at the most 3 changes of underwear and shirts with which to survive, and very little chance of washing and drying the same. It was not unusual to dig a slit trench to sleep in and to wake up to find ourselves floating in a foot of water. The retreating German troops also sabotaged the port of Naples, delaying the arrival of cold weather gear for the Americans until February. Cold trauma injuries skyrocketed and trench foot, a scourge from the Great War, re-emerged. The US Army recorded its first 1,000 cases of trench foot in the war. These conditions negate one of the Allies' main advantages, their modern mechanized army. In the Italian mountains, they must replace trucks with mules and hired Italian laborers to transport supplies up steep slopes and carry the dead and wounded back down. The Germans have fortified their positions expertly, laying mines and blocking roads with buildings and felled trees. They have even used captured Italian tanks as improvised strongpoints. This static tank defense concept will be expanded later in the war with modified Panther tank turrets used as anti-tank bunkers. Despite the challenges, the Allies have some advantages. The threat of air attacks hampers German supply routes, making it difficult for them to bring up ammunition and evacuate casualties. In March, the Allies will launch Operation Strangle, a massive air interdiction campaign to choke off German supplies. Allied artillery also poses a significant threat. German troops have learned to take up positions on the reverse slopes of mountains to avoid artillery barrages, maintaining observation posts on the forward slopes. This tactic leads to interesting encounters where opposing sides hear each other before they see each other. For instance, during the battle for Monte Cassino in December 1943, American Rangers led by Rufus Cleghorn climbed the mountain under the cover of fog, only to hear German soldiers shouting, "Die kommen nach oben!" They're coming up. The ensuing battle was fought with grenades, rifles and machine guns at close quarters, highlighting the brutal nature of mountain warfare. While Italy may be overshadowed by the sweeping maneuver warfare on the Eastern Front, the fighting here brings together modern and ancient warfare elements. Allied bombers and artillery unleash their deadly barrages, but the soldiers battle not just the enemy but also the harsh elements. The mud, cold and snow challenge them as much as the enemy does, forcing them into primal combat. The Italian campaign is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of soldiers on both sides. The Germans, with their heritage of mountain warfare, and the Allies, learning as they go, face off in a brutal struggle for every inch of ground. It is a war of attrition, fought in some of the most challenging conditions of the Second World War.